I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and as you know, we are shooting this episode at the Trio Media Studios in Lavington, Nairobi, Kenya. And I keep telling you to come here. The rates are good. It's a good space. You have equipment. If you're a beginner podcaster, it's a very, very cozy space, and you love having your projects done here. So yes, do come to Trio Media Studios and tell them the Shori for In All Honesty told you to come. But with that said, today on the podcast, we have failures. So we were to discuss teachers, basically experiences of children born to teachers and preachers, which is pastor, teacher. We know people who are struggling to grow up, and then there were us, which is not easy. So before we get into the discussion, let's give it a chance for everyone to introduce themselves as they'd like to be known.
Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be back here. Yeah, my name is Agnes, and I am a music executive and a meme distributor, and yeah, just vibes.
Thank you for coming once again, Agie. We really appreciate. And Emmanuel.
So, hi guys, my name is Emmanuel. I'm a chef. Mm-hmm. I'm also a client service executive at the moment, and I love memes too. I was born and raised pastor's kid, so we'll talk more about that.
Yeah. Yes, we'll talk about that. And Agie, for you, it was?
Yeah, I'm a teacher's child.
Me, I'm a teacher's child as well. So we have someone in studio who's incognito. You want to introduce yourself? No, to me.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I'll be identifying as Frank, which is, I feel, should be neutral in terms of gender as well as identity. For me, I am both a teacher's child as well as a pastor's kid. So I prefer to think of it as double trouble.
Yes, it is. Where? I got a response from someone who also has a teacher and a pastor for parents. But anyway, we'll get to it. So as usual, I usually put out a prompt on my socials, and I ask people to share their stories or their opinions about the topic at hand. And we did get responses, and I'm going to read... I don't know if we'll get through all of them, but hopefully we can. I'll read through them, and there'll be our talking points. If it triggers anything, just tell me. If anything comes to mind, then we can just talk about it. So I can start with the short responses. And on Instagram, I asked, how was life with a preacher or teacher parent, and what were the traumas? Hi, the first person here said, the ghetto. I meet people whose only memory of me is how teacher, that is my mom, would beat me in school. I don't know if anyone has any.
Well, I'm lucky enough I wasn't in the same space with my mom because she's the teacher. So I didn't have that personal experience of her as a teacher.
Okay. And you had your dad didn't beat you?
No, my dad didn't. My dad actually never caned me.
Yeah.
Ever since and the only reason I wasn't caned myself is because I didn't sikusumbua kwenda shule like my siblings. So because I accepted school, like they tell me their story of how they took me to kindergarten, and it's like I followed our house help. She used to have a friend who was a teacher in a local kindergarten. So I followed her there. Then I got lost in one of the classes, and yeah. The next day, the teacher just told my mom, please bring her to school. I was very happy to go to school. I loved school. I used to sing.
What a wow.
Narrate A, E, I, O, U. So basically, Every time my parents tell me how it was raising me in terms of school, they say I was very easy.
It was easy.
I gave them, because I'm the eldest, I gave them confidence to have more kids, thinking they get a version of me. Surprise. Yeah, but my father he was a lecturer.
Yeah.
He taught civil engineering, masonry, building technology to students at a polytechnic. So I've not met people who say that, oh, your father caned me or something, because at the time, of course, at that age, there was no caning. But I do meet some of his students.
All right, from the way you described your dad, I didn't even think he's capable of caning, because Agie has been here before anyway. And for me, I was being beaten more than the other kids. So if like someone does a mistake, when you do a mistake, it's like you're beaten twice. So, but it wasn't like bad, because I remember there was another classmate whose parent was a teacher as well, and it was war. It was mob justice whenever he did something wrong, and that's the memory of him that I have. And I tried to look for him online, because I don't keep in touch with people, and I can't even remember his name. So I was just trying to figure out if I can get him, but I didn't. Of course, I won't say his name, but if you watch my podcast and you know we shared a class, you can contact me. Your dad used to teach Kiswahili. That's what I remember. Someone else said, watu huwa wana expect I am him in word, knowledge and conduct and even perception. Kwanza, I avoid people that know me as my dad's son and not me as a person. Does anyone have experience with that?
Yeah.
I thought so.
I think, first of all, I'm Emmanuel. Being born and being named a religious name, there's already so much expectations. So in my parents' mind, they had mapped out my whole life. So this boy growing up ataanza shule on Sundays, atakuwa Sunday school. When you grow up, you'll be a Sunday school teacher. You go study, become a pastor. That's what they have in mind. So
wait, they wanted you to become a pastor?
They assumed. They didn't want. They assumed, yeah. So everyone had that expectation, because there's a thing where families, your dad is a pastor, so it's naturally expected. Either you'll be a preacher or there's a role in the church you will take up. So everyone, when they see you, it's like, mtoto wa pastor nani. So how are you? How are your studies? They start preaching to you. It's exhausting.
And do you feel like people come to you like they would to is it your dad who's the pastor?
Yeah, I think everyone was assuming you are religious. You guys are miracle workers. You guys are
the entire family.
Yes. So if your dad is a preacher, even sometimes you go somewhere and you're the one automatically selected to pray. No one has ever asked me if I know how to pray. Everyone assumes, huyu anajua kuomba, huyu anajua kupreach. There's a time I was asked to preach. I'm like, hey, hold on. Hey, in Sunday school, I'm like, yeah, but your dad is a pastor. I'm like, okay.
It is genetic.
Yeah, this is not the monarchy, but okay.
So do you feel like right now you really try to avoid people who know you as
90%, yes.
Yeah, I would guess so.
Yeah.
Frank?
I made a deliberate decision that throughout high school all the way to campus, no one knew I was a pastor's kid. So my life was... Because the moment they know there's an expectation, you have to be religious, you have to be in the CU, which I was, but obviously there's politics involved in any institution, including the CU. So for my school, the one that I was my CU chaplain, there was a bit of an issue when it came to leadership, because they wanted to get me into a position, but the girl who was there was like, no, I deserve it more. So out of pity, they gave it to her. I was like, nah, it doesn't really make much of a difference. I've done this so many times, you take it. But no, I never deliberately told them that I was a pastor's kid.
So even in school, they didn't like...
Even right now, no one knows I am a pastor's kid unless you were with me when I was a child.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's a dream.
That's what I was trying to create for myself, because
A peaceful
pressure
life.
as a child was already enough. Because I remember one Sunday when we were having our service early in the morning, right after setup, because our setup used to start at like 6:30 in the morning. So you wake up at 5, not even dressing up, just picking up instruments, setting up, washing the church, and then just waiting during those prayer moments. There's even a photo of it, of a preacher who was a guest preacher came in and prayed and said I would become a pastor. Got torn up from that, because every other person in my life has been coming in like, you will be a pastor. I'm like, no, the hell I'm not. No. So we kept denying. Kama ni story ya Jonah, we may end up there. If not, I am definitely not going through that path.
Okay. Where? So it was true. You guys are traumatized.
Yeah.
We learned our mistakes, which was being born into something we didn't choose.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, the next person here says, yo, never even thought of this. Tell me why I am a whole pastor now. And then the next person said, so here, no one did you didn't end up as a teacher?
I cannot teach for even to save my life. I over explain things. I always imagine they don't understand me, so I always over explain.
You try to.
Because of that, I just don't think I would thrive as a teacher.
Okay. Fun fact, when I was watching 100 Humans on Netflix, it's a social experiment. There's an experiment where they ran it was an experiment and women, they were asked to describe tic-tac-toe, and it came out that women use more words than men. And the research is that women have had over the years to work more to like explain something. Like if a man came in with this bottle and placed it there, if a woman came in with a bottle, she'd have to explain when she's coming with a bottle. So over time, women, it became part of our DNA. We just use more words. We're a bit more verbose. Anyway, that was there. I digress. Someone else says, my dad is a pastor and my mom is a teacher. But this is not you. This is someone else. My dad is a pastor and my mom is a teacher. So trust me, I get you. I haven't been back home for a year. I can understand. I really do get it. Someone else said, where I have a degree in trauma, hypocrisy, and many, many more. And I remember reaching out to this person and they said they would never come and show their face and tell us that it's them who are going through this. But do you feel, this and that, do you feel like there's aspects of your parent being a teacher or a pastor that you took up? The way she says she has a degree in trauma, hypocrisy, and many more things. Because me, I noticed the organization I have is from my mom's, the way she used to organize her things as a teacher. Like scripts zinakaa hivi, you mark this going this way, you arrange the marks going this way. The system of organization in my life is mostly from my mom. So I don't know if someone else adopted something from their parents being a teacher or a pastor, and it was subconscious, you didn't expect to.
I think personally, I am not really religious, but I have that reverence. Like, I know there's a higher being.
Yeah.
I really love worship songs.
Yes.
If my mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry, I don't go to church. But there's deep down, there's that, that person, there's a personality where I can relate to worship songs, where I know this song is talking about this and this, but I think it's the environment of the church that took me off, but the values they taught, even I find it very uncomfortable even to steal. Like there's a time I had 50 bob, Makanga didn't take the transport. I alighted, I realized, I felt so guilty. One day I met him again, I was like, there's a day you didn't take. Yeah, so there's those values they taught that are deep down.
That
deep down.
is so true.
Yeah, so the honesty, there's a lot of just the person. I think the person I took the traits, but not the whole drama of church, let's cry, no.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so they shaped a lot of my personality while I was young.
I can actually relate to, because my mom was like a strict Christian. She's not a pastor, but they held positions in church. And to date, my inclination is towards choral pieces. I love choirs. And I can't explain why. When I'm listening to music, so sometimes I'd share music and people are like, kwani olevu uliokoka? Imagine it's just music.
Yeah.
Frank, do you have anything?
Come to think of it, I may be one of those people who failed at being Christians, because I have a friend who's also a pastor's kid. Then right now they've been pastors for like 3 years. But for them, I don't know what got them to think that was a good idea, but thank God they're doing it. I picked up the good habits, the really special ones to me, because organizing, of course, the teacher aspect, the preaching bit, well, it assisted towards becoming a public speaker, of which I did several pieces. So my confidence with crowds was good.
Yeah.
So I took the traits, went with them. I just didn't carry the whole culture, just as Emmanuel.
That's true. It teaches you a lot of things.
Yeah, I think even the public confidence, because I've never had issues with facing people.
Public
Oh,
that
yeah.
helped. The only thing is now I hate being famous. So I hate when people know you, when too many people know you in a place. It was like, oh God, you know, when you're in church, all eyes are on you. So like, mtoto wa pastor. So how you walk, how you dress. So all that during childhood, when you grow up, you tend to, I'd say no to wanna be a celebrity. Yeah.
Well, we hope this podcast blows. Now you know. Let me read, I think the last few I've got here. I would do a mistake at school, get beaten by my mom, the teacher, then get punished some more back at home. I know.
Yeah.
I think I saw
that
that.
was partly because at school the teacher is required to be like, your child is supposed to be good enough to be an example to the rest.
Yes.
So aside from you having the pressure, they also have the pressure. If the child is not performing, they're like, how can you teach all these other children if your own is too much for you?
That's okay. It's okay if you punish me in school, but why are you following me back home with mistakes for school?
Because at home I
Reinforcing
need
the
the
habits.
parent. I don't need the teacher.
Yeah. Because that's just wild.
But I saw that a lot even in the schools that I
Yeah.
went to. Like in high school, there was a chick who was the deputy principal's daughter. And I think at some point she got expelled or suspended for some disciplinary stuff. I don't want to imagine what went down in that house. Because the way teachers used to want to be
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
I
had
think
to
also in the past question you've asked, I think that craving for perfection, that's what I got. Because me, if things don't go according to plan for me, I always feel so bad.
Yeah.
Like if I make, let's say the new year is starting and I have these resolutions and I don't achieve them, I feel so horrible. Or even if I achieve them, but not in the manner I hoped to, I don't follow the route I had planned, now that sucks. And I think it's because of that thing of when you're a teacher's kid, you're supposed to be perfect, you're supposed to get the right grades, you're supposed to, I don't know, it's crazy.
It is. Do you feel like expectations, okay, and how has that played into your adulthood? Were expectations for you much higher? And do you still live with those expectations up until now, or did you break them? Like for us, of course, people thought we'd be extremely successful. People thought I would just be extremely successful. So even having a career in the arts, already I've failed. So
It's considered big.
yeah, so I was set to be big, to be known, to have careers that flourished and made money. And yeah, I don't know if that is something for...
I think my dad had a lot of expectations for me, and I started saying I'll be a chef since I was 7 years old, and he always shut down that conversation. Like, he wasn't even giving it a year.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hiyo ni kazi ya wamama." So even in church, most of the time you'll find me in the kitchen hanging out with the folks. I have a very curious mind, so I see someone chopping onions, I'm like, why are you doing it like this? Why, like, I wanted to know. So that one was it was a no-brainer, like, you're not going to be a chef. And then one day he was hosting guys from the church, of course. No one else came home. And then that day, I did a whole budget. I did a menu. I did a budget, what to buy and everything. And the event was like, it wasn't an event. But yeah, everyone was like, what? You're the one who did all this. I'm like, yeah. And then that's when he started... he's like, yeah, my son has done this. Yeah, he will become a chef. I'm like, hold on, you didn't want this. So tables flipped.
Yeah.
So I think people always have expectations until even the chef story. There was a chef in church who bought a car.
Yeah.
That's when people started respecting that profession, because they were like, kupika tu. So that was the turning point. That's when people started seeing, hey, this can be a respectable job. Yeah. So the expectations were you will be a preacher and all that. So when you're talking about being a chef, no one is listening, and then something happens and they realized, hiya. So now he was so proud. He used to brag, my son will become a chef.
So right now, are you sort of in good terms? Like, you don't feel the undertone of you are a failure?
Personally, no. I think no. Personally, I am always that person. You have your expectation, that's on you. This is mine. So I rate myself based on my expectations. So I know a lot of people had expectations. Mi nilikuwa chopi, by the way. I was a chopi. Everyone was like, huyu atapita, aone amepita, ataenda accounts. So everyone had those, I'll pick those top careers. Even when I was signing up in campus, so I went to Italy, did an interview, and then I went to technical university. So I'm applying, and these people are looking at my results. They're like, uko sure you want to do this? I'm like, yes. You don't want to do engineering or what? I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. So everyone had that, but me, this is what I decided. And yeah, so I mean,
yours is the dream. Because I am out here struggling. In fact, I keep telling you, I still get sent job applications, job openings.
Yeah, people still do.
Yeah, like,
people still do. People consider me jobless. Some people consider me jobless.
Yeah, true.
And I'm earning more than them. But yeah,
You're not looking at it as your issue. You're like,
yeah,
that's their problem.
that's you. That's not me. That's you. Yeah.
And I feel that's very admirable, considering the levels of people pleasing we got into being a teacher's kid personally. Because I remember, because for me in school, I wasn't a choppy, but I wasn't dumb. I was very average. I was a solid B-C child. I was solid. I'm sure of. I won't fail, but I won't pass either. And I felt the need to overcompensate now with other things. Now I need to, when they need someone to go speak, when they need someone to present, I needed to excel in those things to compensate for my mom being embarrassed about my grades. And now looking back, I was a smart child. I wasn't dumb. Like, things were getting through my head. I just couldn't. Maybe you'll find it's a particular subject that's extremely difficult, that's now pulling everything else. But it was just, now I got into people pleasing, where I felt like I needed to excel in so many other things to just compensate for that
shortcoming
in now class. I don't know if that's a thing you had.
You're making sense.
Actually, me, career-wise, when I finished Form 4, I knew I always wanted to work in entertainment, music, work with artists, since I was like
It's okay.
Oh, I knew I wanted to work in entertainment since I was like 15, 14.
Yeah.
So now when I finished Form 4, you know, when you're now applying for what you're going to study in campus. So I was qualified to go to campus through those days they used to call it JAB.
Oh, they've changed.
They've changed. What is the name? I'm forgetting it. But they've changed. So now you see JAB, you used to apply for the courses you want. Then I think there was a fee you pay, like 500 bob. Then you select the university you want to go to. Then they'll mail you now the calling letter from the uni.
Yes.
So my dad at the time wanted me to do pharmacy. He just saw me as a pharmacist. And honestly, even that B plane I got on chemistry, it was a miracle. You know, it was a miracle. I did not like chemistry. I did not like math. And I knew, and there was no course for people who want to be music execs. So I had to find something that would lead me to that path. Because even I knew the organizations I wanted to work for. Me,
oh,
I had
wow.
that. And I ended up working for them. Funny thing. But now my dad was like, you do pharmacy. He was talking to me to get into KMTC. Him and the sister were trying to convince me. So I'm telling them, no, I don't want to do pharmacy. Maybe something else. Because I loved biology. I really did. But now I'm asking them, is there a course that doesn't have a lot of math and chem? I'm willing to, because now you see when you're a teacher's kid, you feel this urge to please them. But when I went now to apply for JAB, I did it behind his back, number one. I applied and I made sure that the letter goes to him, the calling letter. And let me tell you, Maina, the day the calling letter came for me to go and study
all hell broke loose.
Well,
that man was breathing fire. I remember him calling now his fellow lecturer friends, asking them, what the hell is this? Who will employ her? Is it? And I know he really wanted me to do pharmacy. And that was the very first time in my life that I rebelled. Because I had always been the good child. I went to school. I studied hard. I did everything that was asked
by
of me.
The book,
by my parents, by my teachers. You know, my dad used to be, set a good example for your siblings. I did that, you know. But now, this time now when I rebelled, I think it was so shocking to him because he was like, Agie, you're not like this. What's
not
wrong?
you.
Yeah, this is not you. But in hindsight, I'm really glad I did what I wanted because as much as he sent me to university, Shingo Upande and all that, it paid off. Sometimes in moments when my career is not working out, I remember, I should have done pharmacy. But I'm so grateful that I chose my own path. And because of that, he didn't impose his wishes on my siblings. I literally made things easier for them. Because now my sister, who follows me, wanted to be a chef. So now she wanted to do that, my dad was very supportive.
Was open to it.
Yeah, because he realized now you cannot force them to do what you want. They are no longer kids.
Yeah.
You are the guinea pig.
Literally.
So you are
Thank you on their behalf.
And I think she'll come back next week for firstborn. And Frank, expectations?
I think I ended up adapting could be a good or a bad character where I'm over understanding. Because on one hand, I'd always find a reason why something has to be justified. Taking her situation, for instance, and also Emmanuel's situation, ideally, in as much as they were leaders in their own capacities, holding positions, they also are still humans. Because my parents, yes, both of them have those positions, the TK and the PK part, and all they want to see is something that conforms to what the society wants. If they send you to school, they want you to be a certain thing because that one has shown the most security.
Yeah.
I was supposed to, this was the plan. If I get an A, we're becoming a doctor. If I get a B, we're going to journalism. If it's a C, we'll study law. If we get D, E's, and a to jeshi, because you need security. You need to find a job that is secure and permanent in the long run, because they think of it like, what if I wasn't here? Would you be able to stay and sustain yourself? Because I don't want you to be alone when I'm not around and you're suffering. That would really hurt their heart. So yeah, mine was ending up becoming over understanding, and I carried it everywhere. So in as whatever career I chose, which was for data analytics, so that thing is hard, trying to code and shit, and then trying to even get opportunities, and they require to have like a 5-year experience. I'm like, bro, I'm just 20-something. Oh, and the job got adjusted to COOPS with a very funny spelling.
Coops.
Coops, KUCCPS, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
You don't know? You're revealing your age.
I left school like, I'm so glad when you said you actually rebelled, because I actually rebelled going to campus as well. They had, my parents had set it all out. If you know the layout of Eldoret, the place, I was either to go to dentistry school, which I could walk to that school, or go to now law school annex. There matatu was 10 shillings. 10 shillings.
I remember those maths.
And I was just like, I rebelled because I didn't want the hassle of taking care of the household while studying. So mine wasn't so much the course I was picking. And I remember picking the course, I was just like, I think I was picking an easy course. I just needed to do journalism because it just freaking made, I don't know, I thought it was easy. I wasn't ready to commit to dentistry, to whatever. People who know me know that I do not like to study. I hate school. I get education, like I get educated through passive means. I hate sitting in a class and being lectured. So I'm imagining if I'd have followed what my parents wanted to the T, and then went and did a course for 4 years where I was just struggling to get through. And then I finish, and then I can't even use that course. And I don't like school, so I can't go back to school to study something. Chomi.
You decided to choose your struggle.
Yeah, I was so glad that it wasn't even rebellious per se. It was just the same thing. You're a goody two shoes, where it gets to a point where you choose something for yourself and everyone is shocked.
Everyone is shocked.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you are never like this.
Exactly.
I remember I sat down with my dad and my aunt when they were walking me through the options at KMTC. And in my heart of hearts, I knew I do not want this. I don't want to. And I actually ended up getting an internship in the communication department at KNH. After now, because I was in Mo University and they used to send us for crazy ass long holidays. So during that period, I ended up now looking for an internship.
Yeah.
And I worked in a hospital, and I knew this is not for me.
Yeah.
I'd go home sad. You go to the cancer ward, you see, because we used to write stories on patients who are unwell so that they can get donors.
Oh, you and me did the same internship.
Yeah, so you go and talk to these kids. And it's really sad stories, especially the stories of the minors who were sexually abused. I'd go to the loo to cry. And I was just like, I could not survive in this environment. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Even just reporting about it, like doing what I have studied in a hospital,
was a lot.
Let me just deal with my artists. Thank you.
But as Frank says, it doesn't come from a bad place. To them, they needed you to secure your future. To them, they thought these are the careers that will ensure that you have something for yourself even when I'm not there.
True.
So it didn't really come from a bad place. But again, shout out to all millennial and Gen Z parents. They are breaking what are they called? The cycles. And they are doing such a good job because they are balancing it out so well right now. I'll now read the longer responses. Someone here told me, so just watched your episode on why I left religion. It was interesting to say the least. My dream is for a society that is tolerant of other people's choices. We'd love that, wouldn't we? So on to the next episode for parents or for parents of, I think she meant children of teachers and preachers. My mom is a teacher. she was a mom for me throughout, in school, out of it. I don't think my younger brother would be of the same opinion. For him, my mom was a teacher all day, every day, which is interesting considering we were raised together, yet the approach to parenting was different. Do you feel like you and your siblings experienced different parents in terms of that, being a teacher or being a parent?
Yes.
Or a preacher?
I think I was the good one.
Of course, everyone sitting here is amazing.
So when you're the good one, anything you do out of the norm was like, what? And then you're like, hey, but my sister does this all the time. So my sister would go to church when she feels like. For me, it was on Monday there's always a service. There was always a service. So on Monday there's a service.
There's always something happening in
church. Yes. So on Tuesday there's a home fellowship. I don't know, people are coming. On Wednesday there's midweek service. On Thursday there's a choir rehearsal. On Friday there's Kesha, something happening on the day. On Saturday the Bible study, and choir practice again. And then on Sunday the church itself. After church there is something, like there was always something Monday to Sunday, and I was always the one everyone was expecting I will show up. Either I will come and help in arranging or something. But my sister, she will do what she feels like. She feels like coming to church, she will come. So no one was hard on her. Everyone was all the weight was on me, like, hey, you have expectations. Even sleepovers. The last.
You're the last born.
Yes. So my dad was very hard on me, but my mom, I think my mom was the more understanding one. Of course, last borns and mothers. And she's the one I could talk to about anything. But my dad built that wall. I think she was more free with my sister, because my sister was very vocal, like, yo, I don't want this. So yeah, even as we grew older, my sister started drinking. I'm not. So one day we snuck out with her, and she used me to say that we snuck and went to a Kesha. So we were like, oh, if it was a Kesha, it's okay. But it's not a Kesha. We went, she was drinking.
Liar.
And then, I didn't know how to lie. So my mom called me Kando, asking me to tell her the stories. So I'm telling her the stories. We went to a party. There was alcohol. You went somewhere where there's alcohol. Like literally, even there's a time we used to live in Kaloleni. Being a pastor's kid, we moved a lot because my dad was transferred to this church. We moved. So we used to live in Kaloleni, and there was a Busaden near our home. It's just a route. The day I passed there, I was beaten because I passed that route and someone reported me. But my sister passes that route all the time. Yeah, so
smelling local brew is a
yes. They're like, Emmanuel, even your name. I don't know.
God with us.
Yeah.
God with us.
Yes. Yeah, so with her, she was more of a free, like, that is, maybe she had her own struggles, because you can't see the other person's point of view. But from my point of view, she was the favored one, and she was like, she got it not as hard, especially from my dad. Yeah.
Okay. That's anyway. I clearly saw the differences. My mom was more of a parent to my sister and a teacher to me throughout, and I think I've stated, anyway, we'll have these discussions even in the next few episodes. It was very clear. My expectations were set. I was supposed to be the grown-up, the one who understood things, the one who passed, the one who set an example for my younger sisters, set an example for other people in school who are even my age mates. It always felt like I had to walk the path of perfection. And then I'd just peep at my sister like this. She's doing the wildest things. No one is asking her. In fact, some of the things she'd get congratulated for. Me, if I got dirty, I'd get caned. Why are you dirty? Who will do this and that? My sister she'd come home looking like she had rolled in soil. And it would be, you'd see everyone being like, yeah, ndio mtoto, this is how kids should play, And I was like, guys, so for me, I saw a clear-cut difference. my mom was a teacher to me throughout, but I felt like she was a parent and a buddy to my sister, because my mom was wild enough. My parents were wild enough to further my mom's education, so that by the time I was in university, my mom came back as my lecturer in campus. And during those times, there were wild things like if I'd miss class, I'm a lecturer peer. If I'd miss class, my mom is texted by a lecturer, I didn't see your daughter in my class.
Surely, Sini campus. Surely, there's no.
But and then her should get together with my sister, and then they go for lunch. Now we're in the same campus. It's a whole family affair. Her, she goes, picks my sisters, they go for lunch, they're chilling. I'm just like, But me, I've always seen her as a teacher, and my sister, I think, sees her more as a parent. So yeah, I don't know for you if that was a thing.
I really don't think for me there was a difference, because now you see, even me in my dynamic, my mom's attitude towards education was not as strong as my father's. So that sort of provided a balance, because when my dad would call you out for bad grades, my mom would be like, as long as you're healthy, as long as you're happy, as long as... My mom looked at other things, other facets of life. But now, when it comes to how my dad, if I compare on how he treated me and my siblings, of course, he was a little bit harder on me. And his excuse was always, because you are the eldest, you have to set a good example for your siblings. Because I remember, even in high school, there's a point I really struggled with my grades. And I think now looking back, I feel it's like the pressure that was on me. Because when I joined Form 1, I was doing well. Then as time progressed, I was just not as good as I was before.
Yeah.
And my dad would call me after every time the report card is sent. We'd sit with him, we go through my grades one by one. My siblings, none of that shit ever happened to them. I think maybe the only time they'd sit down and talk about their grades was academic day.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a short funny story. When I was in high school, our Swahili teacher was Meru. He had a heavy Meru accent. Now, my dad is the one who used to come for all the academic days, right?
Yeah.
And I hated it when he came, because he would always just be lecture. Okay, my dad was a good storyteller. He used to make me laugh. He was vibes, yeah? But now when it comes to education, he just has this other whole persona. You're like, bana.
Yeah.
So this time around, my dad could come, and I don't know what the reason was, but it must have been something so important, because he never missed. Now my mom is the one who had to come. And just to show you how education was not such a big deal to my mom, the teacher is talking to my mom, and I studied in a very cold place, right? So my mom has come, and she used to my mom still loves wearing shawls. So we are seated there, and the teacher is talking to me, telling me about my grades. And, I noticed for some reason, my mom is zoned out. And when I look at her shoulders, they are moving. And I'm like, please don't tell me you're laughing. Don't tell me you're laughing at this man's accent, because... Anyway, so once we got out of there, my mom is like, wow, no, ndo mwalimu wa Kiswahili. Unapita. Hey, congratulations. And I'm looking at my mom like, what kind of parent are you? Why are you laughing? She had covered her mouth with the shawl, and she was dying of laughter because of this teacher's heavy accent. And I'm like, the times my dad has come here, he doesn't even hear the accent.
He doesn't realize he has
The
an
teacher is
accent.
Yeah, but my dad, the teacher, was always right. So for me, I think what made it easier also is how my mom, she viewed education. My mom was also hard on us on her own things that she felt we were supposed to be good at. Like, you have to be clean, you have to know how to cook and clean, you have to be, the way mothers teach you to be a good wife. Yeah, she was hard on us for that. But my dad, education, he didn't even care if you had showered, but if you had gotten an A,
yes,
you're the best child. So
dirty A.
Yeah. So that really brought a balance for us. So I don't think I really got a lot of trauma from being a teacher's kid.
Yeah.
But there were just some instances where I just felt, hey, Dad, like you're overdoing. I mean, I just nilipunguza tu, nimeanguka na marks tatu. Why is it such a big deal?
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Frank, do you have siblings? And
Yes, there's a quite big age gap between me and my siblings, more than 10 years. So they tried both versions of parenting, and of course, parents don't really know what they're doing. So for me, I was the third trial test. So they let go of a lot of things. They weren't so much on my case. They made me think independently, decide what I'm doing. So I didn't really have like a laid out plan of what I'm supposed to do. And that really was very nice to enjoy, because my sisters would look at me like, how, what?
Oh my
These are not the same parents. 'Cause,
yeah.
what? They just let you decide you don't want to go to that school, you want a different. Okay.
Yeah.
But the moment I requested to switch schools, they were like, that's where they're putting their foot down. When you live in that school, you chose that one, stick with your decision. Actions have consequences.
Ah, okay. Must be nice to have balanced parents. Must really be nice. I'll read my second response here. It says, please hide my name. Some people may know my parents, Huku. People are still living in fear. We cancel. We set ablaze. My dad is a pastor and my mom is a teacher. Muko wengi.
Yeah.
A session for just
Yeah. Double trouble. We call it double trouble episode.
Oh, double trouble anonymous. Tutawafanyia, msiogope. My dad is a pastor and my mom is a teacher, and growing up was very hard. At least my dad was a bit modernized, if I can put it that way, but my mom, I never got to see the difference between school and home, because kote lazima ningesoma and books were not my thing. And worst part was my elder sister was a bookworm and a genius. Na mimi, wacha tu. When my sister got married last year, December, I moved out and I've not been home since. And home is not even that far, but I just don't feel like. I show up once in a while, but never spent the night. I dropped out of campus and actually got a very good job with an NGO, but my parents have no idea. They think niko long holiday. Wangejua haki naeza wekwa kwa maombi na viboko kozwe.
nice courage.
We'll start with Frank, who relates the most.
There's something, just go back a few sentences.
I've never gone home. Is that it?
Just above that, like 2 lines before that.
I never get to see the difference between school and home because kote lazima ningesoma.
Yeah. That one 100% relating, because my dad was so serious. He's the pastor, but no, we literally had a room designated for studying. So while others are watching news and having their dinner, umasoma leo? Ingia kwa room, no usome. So they would lock the door, give me with my books and tell me to study. There's a study table, all the books I'm supposed to read that day. I would put them up and sleep on the table. So the moment they walk in and see my sleepy face, they're like, umasoma? Then they do like a quick quiz of what is
You've studied.
So I had to memorize. I got so good at capturing the moment and then just sleeping it off, because please don't make me
What?
Yeah, and not
She also had a sibling who was really good, so that set pace for like her.
Yeah, my sister is very smart. She's slow at learning, but when she does, she keeps it.
Yeah.
I'm fast at learning, but really slow at keeping it. So I could learn something right now. Short memory is very good. Long-term memory, that's what I feel. So for her, she ended up being really good at what she does. Right now, she's doing pretty good. And with the next part about, I think it's just a trauma response where we want to be as far away as from the source of trauma as possible. Because the first thing I did after I got a relatively stable job was move out. Running away as far as possible. I wasn't even that far. I was also like pretty close. So I was only popping in for food and going back to my place. Kasi COVID, I would still be out of the house, but COVID made me come back. I'm still trying to get out.
Well, maybe with the economy of a son from Sugoi, We'll put you in the prayers.
It's gonna be a while.
It might be a while. And she also said she has a good job that the parents still don't know about.
Yes. Aside from having that pressure of people always knowing your business, I'm so incognito. People from up country call to say, hey, by the way, how's Nani doing? So what does she do today? Will we be drinking soda anytime soon? Referring to like either a marriage proposal or a graduation something. Because even my graduation was low-key. My own family didn't know. I went with my gown, took my paper and went home. I didn't want no big headlights. I've had headlights my whole life. For this one moment, let me have my win in silence. So yeah, I get that.
Okay. So for you guys, do you feel like there's things you had to do that you cannot tell your family?
Yeah, I think for me it's Nico job. Please don't ask more. What do you do? I work in the hotel industry. I think that's enough for.
Okay.
We parted ways with my dad some time ago. That's a whole other story. But I think my mom knows I work. She doesn't know. Every time I lose a job, I'm like, hey, I've lost my job. But the details, like, so this is what I do Monday to Friday. And no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's, I don't think there's I'm not like him or her where I want to go away from them.
Yeah.
It's just, I like my independence. I think there was always a rule in the family where my dad used to say, I don't know whether he was serious or not, that when you hit 18, you need to start thinking of how you will be independent, which that one was stuck in my brain. So the moment I hit 18, I've always been uncomfortable being home.
Okay.
So yeah, being independent, it's not an act of rebellion for me. It's more of my independence.
It's just you.
It's just me deciding. And then choosing. I love the fact that I can choose. If I feel like going to church, I can go. But not like I have to. Yeah. And like,
memes for
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Nani President Kingston.
Yeah, so the fact that I can choose when to go to church, which church, and I can also choose not to. I think it's not really an act of rebellion, but it's just me. I tend to avoid the churches I used to go with my folks because the whole drama, and I think people at church don't understand separation.
They don't
grasp it easily. So every time you meet someone, how is mom? So this and this and this. How is dad? I don't know. Like, what? You don't talk? I'm like, no, I don't know. Yeah, and then they're like, yeah, but we will pray for you. I'm like, okay. So yeah, so every time you meet someone who knows your parents, there's always that.
Yeah.
The
trick is to say they are fine. How is Agie? They are fine.
I don't know how to
How's Emmanuel? He's fine. Because you've not gotten news that this person is dead or sick. So they are fine. You've not lied.
I think the honesty bit was really engraved.
Yeah.
Every time someone said, I don't know. How is it? I don't know. We don't talk.
We can't loan money with you.
Yeah, like, so. Yeah.
Frank, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I have a feeling it's a chick because for me, for chicks, it's not expected that you move out at all. Like, let your husband come and pick you up. Because I moved out at 21 and they were like, what? Because my sisters moved out in their late 20s, like close to 30. And it was either marriage or they had a job somewhere else that required them to move. So moving at 21 was an abomination of some sort.
Yeah, that I would get. For me also, my sister, I don't know about my brother, he's a bit way older, but my sister did things by the book. And so by the time I was coming along, and I'm not a rebellious person. I think I'm silently tough-headed. If you tell me to pick this cup and I don't want to pick it, I will not argue with you.
But you won't do it.
I just want to be that. So I think me coming along with that energy, it felt like, oh, you're attacking, you're charging towards, like you've become so ungovernable. But in real sense, I was just choosing things for myself. I'm just like, I don't want that. I want this. But considering having probably a sister who's done things by the book, that sets like the standards way high for me. And I'm thinking I'm not even problematic. I'm just, these are things that people would do normally. But that's just having someone else who's done things right. And also me, things that my parents do not know, my family do not know. I don't know whether it was the being a black sheep or the expectations for being a teacher's kid being so high that I just stopped updating people on anything I do. So to me, when we say there's something you're doing your family is not aware of, me, it's my entire life. It's this podcast, it's my career, it's the house I've moved into. No one knows what I'm doing at any particular point in my life. Yeah. So I don't know whether that was as that result, but I know it's because sometimes that expectation is set on you so much that if I were to move out of this studio to another studio, my mother would come and tell me, why are you moving to another studio? You know, that what other happened? Studio is more expensive. But me, I take that as negativity. Yeah. Anything that is not supporting what I'm doing, I consider it negative. And so maybe that's the energy I'm trying to keep away. And for me, that your advice, I've had advice all my life. I've had how to be and how to like take my life, my whole life, that right now I don't want anyone telling me what to do. So if I have to move houses and the first question my dad will ask is, why are you moving from that neighborhood? Immediately I feel attacked and I feel like I don't want that. So it's an unhealthy thing to have that I will work on, but I know that's where it stems from.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've been exposed to them long enough to know what to tell them when they start asking questions?
For now, because you know, you also, these are your parents, you've known them since you were born. For now, I know the only way is to not give you information. That way you don't have information for telling me anything. If I told you I'm moving, you'd have something to say. But if you didn't know I'm moving, it's a non-issue. So that's why I won't say anything. So if you find out I moved, you're like, oh, you moved. Yes, I moved. So I already moved. There's nothing.
The major reason I am asking is because being in the church environment, part of the chick that was saying something about PhD in hypocrisy. Hypocrisy was partly because you learn how to act a certain way.
Oh, that is true.
Where people ask you, oh, so what are you doing these days? You'll say something that will please their ears, but not exactly what's going on.
The truth.
So, for instance, your scenario of why did you move? I have a response for you based on how I know you and what I know you want to hear from me.
Oh, that is so true.
Yeah. If it was Emmanuel, hey, honesty, yo.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah. I think that's most of us. You filter what you share.
Or rather, you live two completely different lives. Because me, I'd go out and drink and come back home sober and cook for that family. And set food on the table and wash dishes. And no one knows I'm fucking drunk.
It's all about how you word it. You went out with friends. That's all they know. Yes, it's
no,
true.
I didn't go. They didn't know where I was. Oh. So I had to drink during the day. So I can't drink at night. Oh. So I have to drink during the day. And I have to come back and serve all the things that I do in this house. I have to come back and do all those things. And then, like, on Sunday, you'll call me and you're like, oh, umerudi. And I'll just tell you, nimerudi. But sijarudi kutoka church, you don't know where I'm from. So you literally live a double life. It's hectic. Umeni trigger. Umeni affect. You wanted to say something?
No, I'm just fascinated by that dual life that I've had some interactions with preachers' kids, and I've seen that like it's like they have I don't even know what it is. It's like two different people.
Yeah.
And because most of them, they'll be my friend, that friend that they can be free with. Now you see the other side. Then you see them in front of now the people who they're supposed to look perfect in front of. And you're like, bruv, yo, what's up?
Because it's even difficult to introduce your friends to your family. Because people know me as two very different people. If you showed my family the Olive TikTok, they don't know who you are talking about. Yeah. This is an upright girl who wakes up in the morning, dresses nicely, goes and works hard. She doesn't joke around with people. She's very stern. So you literally have multiple personalities, which is psychotic. Okay.
Now you see me in my upbringing. My parents are not very religious. And sometimes I'd feel like, hey, why are we not? You know, you hang out with other kids, you hear what their moms are doing, what their dads are doing. You're like, us, our family is chill. Yes, we used to go to church every Sunday. But what I used to look forward to Sundays, because after church, my dad would take us out. And he always knew the best joints to go to. He'd take alcohol in front of us. So, and we didn't feel that. You see the way, I don't know, I feel like pastors' kids, it's deprived from you. So the minute you get it, you want to. I think the
Almost
most I did as a child was just to, you know, the curiosity of, okay, how does beer taste? You just taste it and you're like, yuck, it's not nice. You leave it. But there was no that thing for, if you are caught, it's the dire
worst
consequences
thing ever.
Yeah, so I sometimes really sympathize with, because I know one, and that person has shown me two different sides of themselves. I'm always like, are you?
I feel like.
Are you okay? Do you need therapy?
None of us is okay. That is established. I feel like we've not spoken for some people, because I know pastors' kids who've completely rebelled, and for them it was rebellion for, I'm doing this just to hurt you. It's out of spite. So some went into alcoholism. I know someone who just like went into tattooing and piercings, and it's out of spite. Like, I'm just doing this to get back at my parents. So there's that lot of people who I know exist. Just know you are seen. You're not in studio today.
We hear you.
But we know your stories and feel very much seen. And whatever you're feeling is actually valid. Your parents want the best for you. And sometimes, such people have not grown under maybe very healthy parents. Imagine growing under a narcissistic pastor who all they care about is the reputation they are putting out there. Everything is how the brand will look. So their kids are suffering under psychotic behavior, and so maybe that's what you see now as extreme rebellious behavior.
Because what is usually so sad about these church people you are trying to please is that when shit hits the fan, they won't be there for you.
That's true.
How many people have you had, they were religious, they were doing all these things in church, and when they lost their what is it, when they needed the church didn't help them. I know of someone who the mom was unwell, and because she fell ill, it was cancer for a long time, and so the mom was not able to do those church things as she used to. So because cancer had taken cancer is
a bitch.
It took a toll on her. Do you know when the mom died and ilifika time ya mazishi, the church was like, we can't officiate this because hajakuwa akikuja hizi meetings za church.
Can you imagine?
And I was like, make it make sense.
Yeah.
This woman had cancer. I even went and saw her myself. She had cancer. She couldn't come because she was unwell. What do you mean? It was, me. If you do that
people
to me, me natoka hiyo kanisa.
Yeah, I think also we also, living behind the scenes, you see things that happen. One of the things that really triggered me was when two young adults. So one was the pianist and one is in the choir, the youth, and then the guy impregnated the girl, and apparently you can't come to church now. I'm like, okay, are we supposed to repent? So it didn't make sense for me. Such things didn't make sense for me. There was even a story of how a lady reported that one of the pastors was eyeing her, and to me it sounded like borderline sexual harassment. Like, you want me by force, and then she doesn't want her back, so she's apparently rebellious. So and then and then now everyone in the church is judging her. No one is even looking at the pastor, because pastor can do no wrong. And even at home, my own dad, I remember there's a day where he was beating my mom. So I was like, no. I went and called. There was a senior pastor. So I went to his place. It was far. I walked, I went, and then we came back with him. Now he's guiding and counseling them. And then this same person is preaching in church. And then I'm asking myself how that other person was kicked out of church. So a lot of that, I think they didn't make sense to me.
It's traumatic to see behind the scenes when you're not part of it. It's like being born into a cult. You didn't ask to be here, and now you're seeing the hypocrisy. And
it's beyond your control.
Firsthand.
There's a TikTok I was...
sorry about interrupting, but the thing with church generally, you'll never find whole people there. Part of the reason why I'm scared to shits about becoming a preacher of any sort is because you need to deal with delicate, broken hearts on a daily. You're still human, you're still learning your walk in Christ, and you're required to raise someone else to become receptive of, aside from the word, how to manage living in this world. Because we can't separate the world from the person themselves. In as much as, in your instance, you explained about how the pastor can do no wrong. Think about it like a diplomat. In a foreign country, they have a pass for being a diplomat. Same thing applies to pastors. As long as you're a preacher, you have a pass. You can do whatever you want, and you're still going to be given that pass because you have basically the covering. But it should not drown the fact that you're still human. If you make a mistake, the elders in the church should be able to come to you and hold you accountable to your actions. The moment there's accountability, people will stop fucking around.
That's true. For me, actually, I'm Catholic, and I have an aunt who is a nun. Actually, my mom's side, we have two nuns. One is my mom's aunt, the other one is my mom's sister. And because they're my relatives, I see their human side, right? And I love my aunt to bits. In fact, my aunt, the one who is a nun, she's literally my bestie. If she asks me to do anything, she knows I'd go to the ends of the world for her. But because we are family, I've seen her have her what is it called? Her human side. There's a time you'll even be walking with her and you see people doing for her favors because of the clothes she's wearing. And I'm like, she's human just like you, because me, I've seen that. There's a time she came to visit me, and I remember the watchman at the gate, he was just so humble greeting her. And now, after she left, now he's asking me, oh, did she come to pray for your house? No, she came to show me my house. Alifika kwa nyumba yangu, na hii fridge yako imejaa. And I'm like, because I see their human side, I really do not understand why we hold these religious leaders to like a god status, because they are human beings just like you. They have their weaknesses. They can make jokes, they can make mistakes, but the way we hold them even up to a certain standard, I think that is also what makes them feel like I have to look perfect. And because of that, now it transcends down to the kids they are trying to raise, the families they have. So we just need to do better, even us as a society, and treat them as human beings.
You can't really take the privilege away. Someone said grace is not fair, because the grace they have is because they were good with both God and with men. So you get the privilege of seeing their human side, which honestly is an honor. those who don't identify their authority and the position they are in, they do still carry a spiritual power of some
over
sort.
them.
If they decide to pray, unakuanga guaranteed, like there's a good chance my prayers will get answered if they pray, because they have dedicated time into whatever they are doing. Same way I trust a doctor who's been doing medicine for 10 years over someone who just went to WebMD and became, you have this. I trust the one who put more time into it. So privilege, taking it away,
itakuwa ngumu.
So we just acknowledge that that's where now this trauma stems for children of maybe pastors and teachers, because you see the person the world cannot see.
Yeah.
And I think for me, what was even very disturbing, I think right now I've made peace with it. What was disturbing growing old, when I was growing older, when I was young, Jeso. I'm still young, but it's okay. When I come to Agie and explain to Agie about my mom, my mom is Mkali, she's on this. My mom told me this, she shouted at me. And people are just looking at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Mrs. Ora would never, like
she's an angel.
This one woman, why you are lying? In fact, we know you are rebellious. See, you have tattoo. You are lying.
Yeah.
So you can imagine living like that. A child who sees everyone. They know if I go to the church and say this man is a sexual predator,
No one will be.
no one in that church will believe that child. And she knows, she's seen her father do these things. So I can imagine the trauma of just being in it. I to me, it feels like maybe you see how when you get into entertainment and you're taken into Hollywood, those things Cat Williams was talking about, where you're the sober one and you're seeing the culticism.
Yeah.
And no one will believe you outside.
No one will believe.
Yeah.
Now that even you've mentioned entertainment, I've just been so fascinated. When I was like little looking up to these music execs in Hollywood and now seeing the stories coming up about them, I'm like, what do you mean this guy is a predator? I looked up to him. He's the one who made us know so and so this. He was a dope A&R. I want to be that dope. So
it's sad. I can imagine what PKs.
Wait, so it became hard for you to accept that they were really that good and also that bad?
Yeah, it's really hard, especially because I was very invested in the entertainment. Like I knew, as I've gotten older, I've gotten tired of following up what's happening. But I used to research and I know, okay, this artist was discovered by so and so at this, and those are the things we used to see in movies. So I used to think being an A&R, you'll go to a certain restaurant and then there's this singer who is singing and then they have such good talent. And then because we have to work, you just say, you know what, see me after this. I'm going to sign you up. You hook them up with a good deal. And then you become part of their success story and then on to the next. But you get into the business and you see, these only stories are just...
Never meet your heroes. Yeah.
Because me, when I've not healed from R. Kelly, R. Kelly broke me because I was just like, you can't be doing this. You cannot. Man, your songs have taken people through dark times,
storm is over, man. Storm.
When you sing, when you open your mouth, the world moves, the hills quiver. What do you mean you are a sexual predator? Like, what do you mean, sir? I was
sense.
mad. I'm so mad at him.
Didi's case is the one that is really breaking my heart because this guy, under Bad Boy Entertainment, he introduced the world to some of the biggest stars.
True.
But now, if you now start seeing even the reality shows he was doing, how he was treating these artists, it is awful. Yeah. It is really bad. And you're just like, I used to look up to you so much because you showed us that, me. Funny thing, as a kid, I was very racist in the kind of music I listened to. And I didn't like white people singing. I was that chick for all the black, when people are saying, siju Westlife. I remember in high school sometime, watu karibu wanipige when I said Westlife is overrated. Because me, I was that chick for Boys to Men. So I really
like them black, huh?
It had so much soul, so much vibe. And then now you listen to what these execs who are supposed to be helping these artists sorry for moving away from the topic. We're supposed to be helping these artists, what they are doing to them behind the scenes. It's really, really sad.
It is. It's traumatic to say the least. So PKs and TKs, I'll read the last response I got, and then we can go to...
That's a long one.
It's so long. And then
Can feel the trauma.
We can finish it up. Hey, Olive. So I'm here as a teacher's child, and let me tell you, it wasn't an easy journey. Do tell me why my dad took me to his school in a whole different county. Kufika huko, the other kids didn't want to call me by my name because apparently it was a hard name. Nikaanza kuitwa mtoto wa mwalimu. People who call me Orawo call me Olive. So being the bright kid mwenye ametoka Nairobi, I started being number 1. That's in class 4 now. The whole of primary, I was number 1 to 3, so I had to maintain juu I started. Kufika upper class, sasa si you know the kufanya exams za mock na za weekends. Tell me why my dad would tell me over lunch break venye I've failed in mathematics na si kuzuri na nangoja kichapo nyumbani. So I had to work harder in my other papers. Do remember, I have to be number 1. Alafu papers kurudi, I'm leading in the mathematics with some 90 to 98%. Now that happened every other time till nimalize KCSE. So when she was doing exams, her dad would come midway and tell her you've failed and I'll beat you up when you get home. So that is apparently encouragement for her to work hard on the remaining papers, only for the papers to come back and find that she's actually passed that math. So it was just
a threat.
And I passed. The problem comes in when I'm now being the parent to my sister. So my dad has evolved. He's no longer the strict parent. He's no longer the strict parent, the one Mimi nili grew up with. Sasa, I went to pick my sister from school. Alafu amepata maths 20%. And I was like, that's not us. I mean, your dad is a maths teacher. You cannot be getting that. And I've been coaching her, Ju. She's supposed to be getting better. But now I'm finding out that we have different capabilities. Now that's why the pressure being applied to us is different. But I'm learning that now. We are different. Times are changing. Na kuchapwa kuwa number 1 is no longer a thing.
Mwalimu wa math.
Mwalimu wa math.
I have an almost similar story. So I went to high school and then I moved to a school where my dad went to. And then the teachers happened to know my dad. My dad was always top of the class. And then one day, everyone failed a maths paper, but I'm the only one who was beaten because I am smart but lazy. So the teachers were like, we ni mwerevu lakini we ni mzembe. So everyone failed. Actually, we had 030. You know how some exams you're like, hey, what's happening? So I was the highest to 03. And then I was caned because your dad is smart. You're supposed to. I don't know how people always expect that you inherit those genes. I wasn't dumb. I was lazy. That one I accept. But still,
everyone failed.
But how do you get picked out of the whole class?
I think that was very traumatic. And this is not even the pastor beat. This was in school, so everyone knows. They know my dad and his brothers. So everyone in their family was smart. No one used to fail. So the expectation is up there. I think that it was very traumatic.
That is, even me, I was beaten. I remember being beaten in science, and I think I had gotten an 89%, but I was being beaten because I can do better. Of course, I was better. I should be able to do better. Me imagine, you can't take me back to school. You can't you can't even pay me to go back to school.
Too much trauma.
Yeah, and then they've talked about how you also have your expectation when you see young people. Not even your own kids or anything. So true. When I see kids, I had a kid telling their mom, I don't want to go to church. I was like, Jesus. Like, hey, a 5-year-old kid. Like, today I don't feel like going to church. And the mom is like, it's okay. Can you watch the service online? And he, no, I want to watch. I don't know. There's 1, 2, 3, go. I am boiling inside. I'm like, hey, what's happening? But I like the new generation of parents. I think CBC is sort of also an open mind, because I saw how there's a career day and every kid is choosing a career. Even if you don't become that, nice. I saw kids who went to school as chefs. I saw kids who went to school as pastors. I'm like,
wow.
So
I'd like to meet them in a couple of years.
Yeah, I me too. Yeah, so I think the new generation of kids are teaching people like, hey, listen, this is you, this is me. Yeah, so even the parents, the Gen Z parents, hey, I admire them.
Job. Yeah.
And the other thing was, people never used to talk. So as we were living in church, my mom was battling she has depression. So behind the scenes of that, you see on Sunday, you see her in front there. But behind the scenes, I always knew my mom is sick. She has to take meds daily. Yeah. I never used to know why. So, so there's a time when she lapses, she blacks out, she doesn't talk. And then as I grew older, I was like, no, I need to know what's happening. So one day I took her to clinic and I called the doctor and okay, just explain to me what she's going through. I need to understand. That's when the doctor explained to me, so she's battling mental health. She has had it for years, since I was a kid. So that mentality of the parent is sick, but no one is talking about what she's going through, how we can support her. I think there was that notion of, hey, imagine we are pastor and end a therapy. No one, and that time. True. So right now, I think people are more open because one of the pastors we had, her daughter turned out to be a mental health advocate, and she is very vocal about it. She's even bringing it to church.
Especially in the church. Yes.
Yeah, she's bringing it to church. She's encouraging people in church to go to therapy. They need it, trust me. They need it.
Then they need exorcism.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the new generation, I really admire. I wish I could regrow. Now. Yeah. I'm really curious though to find a Gen Z pastor and their children. I'm really curious.
True. There's something you've said about now when your mom is going through depression and people are thinking, Bibi, a pastor is equal and a therapy.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you experienced there are traumas I have. I don't like guests because our house was like a pastor's house.
Yeah.
People would come in anytime, whatever time. I think teachers and pastors were held in such high regard at the time.
Yeah.
You'd always come to a mwalimu, you'd always come to a pastor. So I felt like that idea of living in a house that is so open haunts me to date. The always there's someone who's walking in, and when they walk in, something needs to be served. They can't leave without having eaten something. Yeah. You need to have served them in some way. Maybe they've come to tell you something. They've come with a problem. I felt like we, as the extension of teachers and pastors' kids or the family, we served as therapists without being paid.
I think there's also, so people used to come home a lot and it was draining. It was draining.
Yeah, that's the word.
When there are guests, there's how you're supposed to behave. There's so much expectations. How you're supposed to dress.
So just trying to be chill with shorts and then I'm a chick, so I have to wear a dress. I
hated I'm watching something on telly and then I have
you have to stop. And then so when people come, and then some of them have kids, so you're forced into friendships that we have nothing in common. You have nothing in common with these kids, but you're forced to go out with them. And then even sometimes your parents force you to be friends with another pastor's kid. And I'm like, I wish that kid is rebellious. Unajua huyo atanipoteza. I was like, I wish I could tell you. Because this person they're taking you, they always sneak. They teach you how to sneak. Yeah. Me, I'm goody two shoes. I don't want to. Yeah, so sometimes you're forced to hang out with people. You don't vibe. You have nothing in common.
And there's also the expectation of you're not allowed to say no.
Yeah,
mtu akuja na mtoto
there was
wake,
no
you are supposed
option.
to help with the kids.
Yeah.
As in, no.
The kid is dumb, you're supposed to help them study. There was
He's crying, give them milk, hold the kid. Like, you weren't supposed to just release us.
They got us on a chokehold, release us.
It's enough. Let us go, my love. That was actually our last response, and probably I can just take parting shots before we close the episode. Frank?
Yes, I'll start us off for all teachers' kids and pastors' kids, in as much as you're in that position, not by choice, keep your circle small. The small society help you, like you have a support system to assist you when you have those tough times. So keep your circle small, people you trust with everything without hiding any part of you, because they are the ones that will bail you out when shit turns south.
Keep your circle small.
I think what I can say is, hopefully it might get better, because like for me, I actually became really tight with my dad as I got older. So as Diamond sings, Yatapita. It does get better, but always never lose your voice. Just be ready to speak what you stand for. Don't always be taken by the wave. But hopefully things will get better, because as you get older, you realize that your parents are human beings. They're also trying to figure out that parenting shit. May always give my parents grace, because I literally was their first child. They didn't know what to do, and I looked easy to raise, and then my siblings came, and then they showed them shege.
Dust.
Yatapita, and just stand firm on your beliefs.
I think there's pros and cons. I think you can pick. I was taught to be a loving person, I was taught to be a good person. Keep that. I'm one of those people who would, if I were ever to raise kids, I would raise them very differently. I wouldn't force them into church, first of all. I would teach them about church. I would teach them about what I believe. So this is what I believe. There's a higher being. This is what the Bible says. This is those I can teach them. But forcing them that, your life, you have to have a routine of going to church daily, doing no. I think that's, and then I would want to raise kids who are aware of themselves, like this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right, and
or make decisions for yourself.
Yes, and they help them become vocal, because I think most people in church are not vocal. Most pastors' kids are not vocal. They are sort of underwhelmed, and you can't say things against your parents. So I think one of the things I would encourage, I will raise kids who know that you can tell me when you think I'm wrong. And if you don't understand why I'm doing something, you
can seek clarity.
You can come and ask me, Dad, I don't understand why you did this to me. Why did you do this to me? I think that will be it. Having said that, I don't want kids though.
Hallelujah.
So,
utarudi kwa nini?
People don't
choice. I love it. I don't know. I would the guest we had last week, Mercy, when she came on the episode for Why Did You Leave Church, she asked one thing. Kwani watakufanyia nini?
Ukitoka.
So you can choose to leave. I know when you're still dependent, when these are the people who are still feeding you, paying your rent, you might have to live a double life. That's okay. We see you, we feel you. But once you get the chance, as Frank said, that when she got the first paying job, she was out. Once you get the chance, please know that it is okay to not continue living under the shadows of your parents. And you've said there's pros and cons, and I thought of one pro. There's I can go and ask for things from certain people, and by virtue of being mtoto wa Orao,
You
I will
get- yes,
so
yes,
that's,
yes.
that's part of it. There's pros like that. So we say, oh, mtoto wa pastor, mupe. So it's a balance, it's a delicate balance, but it's okay. Feel seen. Please know there are more teachers and pastors' kids out there. You don't need to live under those shadows. You will be plagued by guilt when you try to pick things for yourself. So just know ni life. Imagine ni life, and it gets better.
Yeah,
It's
it
better,
gets-
it does.
That brings us to the end of another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. Thank you to my beautiful guests, including incognito ones. Thank you. And until next week, my fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and this has been the In All Honesty podcast. Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Next on the In All Honesty podcast.
So, in the spirit of keeping it in the family, firstborns, please come forward and explain your side of the story. So, we'll continue to explore some family topics and family dynamics in the next few episodes. We'll start with firstborns, then lastborns, and then middle kids, so that we can just get to share what were our experiences growing up. What are some of the things that have affected how you are right now? Are there traumas that you're dealing with right now you're healing? Are there things you're unlearning? Are you raising your kids in a certain way? What have you noticed about yourself while you're trying to navigate the world right now as a firstborn? Because assistant parents, that is a very problematic term to me. But let us come together. Let us talk. Let us see where you're at. Let us see what we can do better with the firstborns that are coming after us. And let's get to talk. So tell me about your firstborn experiences, how it has affected the trajectory of your life. You know, you can always talk to me through my DM at OLAVEORAWO, and you can also send your stories through my email at olaveorawo@gmail.com. Bye.
Do you hear that? Would you lend me some coins, please? The In All Honesty podcast needs you to continue running. I will deeply appreciate support from you. You can send monetary contributions to my Mpesa +254 728 171 059 via PayPal at OLAVEORAWO. That is OLAVEORAWO. You can support the podcast indirectly by buying merchandise and services I offer listed on my WhatsApp catalog. My WhatsApp number is +254 728 171 059. Did you think I'd forget? Advertise with the In All Honesty podcast. Hit me up to talk about it. You can do that via WhatsApp +254 728 171 059 or via email olaveorawo@gmail.com, or you can also DM me on socials at OLAVEORAWO. You know, the hand that gives will receive an episode every week. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.